Hello.
How are you? Good to see you again.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah, I did recognize Rockpit. Yeah.
Zoom just tried to restart as you came up,
Oh,
but
all right. Okay.
yeah, no, we
Yeah, I've had a bit of a funny week. I've not been well. I
yeah.
picked up a bug last week, and I think my immune system's a bit down. Because it went through the usual stages of a streaming nose, a very dry throat, a cough, and I'm just coming through it now. And I really needed to come through it by the end of this week because I want to go and see my hometown of Wrexham play football on Saturday. So I must be well. I must be well.
Classic. It'll be how are they doing, Wrexham?
Oh, they're doing really well. They have a couple of Hollywood stars who've bought into the club, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney.
yeah.
Yeah, and they've done a fantastic job. And the only problem is getting a ticket these days.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a good problem to have, isn't it? It's
Well, no. The thing is, I'm hoping that because it's a new season, they've moved up a league again. They're in the third sort of tier of the UK now. I'm hoping that I'm going to bump into the right person because this is my first game of the new season.
yeah.
To get a ticket or get that pass where, yeah, ring me, Andy. You can have a ticket whenever you want. That's what I need. I need that man.
Well, hopefully Ryan is a reader of ours. Then
Yes,
we
good.
can, we can kill two birds with one stone. Then it's
Yeah. Hi, Ryan. Hi, Rob. I am here.
yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, just imagine. I
The,
love football every
the
time.
weird thing is, I used to raise money for the club when they were out of the league in the fifth tier because they needed it. And
Mm.
now they don't need my money, do they?
Oh dear, it's
Mm.
funny, isn't it? How things come full circle, Andy.
The full circle. There you go. A new album.
Yes, out on the 20th of September. It's funny when we
It
talked
is.
last time. You mentioned the new tracks, and of course I listened to those. Only a couple of weeks later, I got given the album, and if you're going to go out, you're going out in quite some style. It's not left the car, which is always my sign of a good album.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting hellishly good reports from people I've known for a long time and new people just contacted me saying this is a hell of a good album. There's a lot of earworms on there.
yeah.
Apparently, they've been playing it, and like the guy's girlfriend or wife started to sing one of the songs. So not a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty on there to love. I was just playing it just before we spoke there. It starts off well. It's funny. I thought it's funny. The first track there, Circus, and the last track, Full Circle, the title track, both have got that circular sort of like thing going on as well.
Mm,
Of course, the circus is what in old Roman times was like a circular amphitheater type thing,
yeah.
and then you've got Full Circle there, which the sad thing, I guess, for Sweet Fans is that it's been billed as the final studio album.
Well, at the time when we were doing it, and you are aware of my prostate cancer.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm not being doom laden, and I'm not being stupid. The mortality of everyone. We're all going to go at some point, but when you move into the final kind of category, but you're still all right. You don't realize. You do realize that one day somebody might come tapping you on the shoulder and go, "I think the time's come, son." And I don't want to be doomed. As I say, I'm ready. I've had a hell of a life, but you start to think this possibly could be our last album. So we better be good on it. But the guys in the band are writing good songs as well.
yeah,
I haven't written everything on this album. That there are about one, two, three. There's another four out of the songs who've been written by some of the other guys. I'm involved with six of the songs, something like that. But it's you know, and a couple of them outright, you know, but it's the it's the fact that the other guys are writing, so recognize them, you know, because I'm not going to be around forever, and could the Sweet survive without me? I don't know. I don't know, but if they're writing good songs and people are loving it,
Yeah.
why couldn't, you know?
It is interesting, isn't it? And I guess a lot of bands, a lot of great bands from the era go through that sort of like questioning of like what happens next. I mean, I know a few bands are retiring. The Sweet, what would be 54 years old this year?
Yeah,
Which is a fair old chunk of
well, if you go back, it's 55, but it all depends on count, you know.
yes. Yeah. Well, I guess you've been there, haven't you, since 1970, I guess.
Yeah, so if you go from 70, which is a zero, it's
Yeah.
55 years, not 54.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm sorry to be pedantic, but math was my thing when I was at school.
Be as pedantic as you like. It's a wonderful album. I mean, some of the songs are just so lush. The production's fantastic. It's sort of like really suits the songs. And I know that you started writing these, as you say, while you were sort of like battling with cancer, but also during the pandemic as well, which means that you've had to live with these songs, I guess, for quite a while now.
Well, a couple of the songs were yeah, we started writing them before the pandemic, but when the pandemic came, we didn't want to just stop because at that point, 5 years ago, the band was still fairly new. This lineup had not been together for well 18 months, something like that, and I did not want to lose that. So I said to everybody, somehow we're going to make an album, and the best thing we can do is the songs that we play live. Those are the songs we'll do, like a compilation, like this band performing the live set, if you like, but in a studio way. We found some drum tracks that hadn't been used, like a live drum track, because we've got quite a few live gigs that we never used, and the drums were really good. I also found a couple of outtakes of other songs or songs that we've used as TV tracks or things like that, so that, you know, we just put them all on a digital, just chuck them in there, and then we listened to them and we thought, well, we've got 10 or 12 tracks here, you know, from Fox on the Run to Ballroom Blitz to, you know, Hellraiser, and with a little bit of pushing and shoving, I managed to get the original synthesizers from Fox on the Run, from the original recording in 74. We managed to prize them out of that and put them into this recording. We also and like we recorded a lot of stuff, obviously, and because the tracks, those tracks that had endings with the drums was fine, but where it was a fade out studio track, the drums still had an ending. You know, it had that British. So we tried to go with that a little bit, so that everything sounded not rough, but spontaneous. And that's what we went for. We opened up the chutes. We didn't tighten, you know, overly compress, and so everything sounded too tidy. We opened all of that up, so it starts to sound like we're having a good time in the studio. Yet not once did we all appear in the same studio at the same time. And that's why it was called Isolation Boulevard.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
so, a great pun on the great album.
Yeah.
And I guess that, I mean, it's interesting that album and I guess its sister album, Sweet Fanny Adams, have got their 50th this year. So 1974, two albums. What was it? 6 months apart, I think.
Yeah, I know what the main fact behind it was a little bit of the Green-Eyed Monster. Mike Chapman and Nicky Chinn were in America, in California, hanging out, trying to get work, trying to write for other people, co-writing with people. Mike did not want to come back to Britain. He was now sorted, but he wanted to get rid of Nicky. I'm finding all this out after the fact. Phil Wainman says, we've got an album to make. Just because they've shot up, it doesn't stop. So all of a sudden, I'm now writing and putting tracks forward. Me and the band are coming together, and we've now filled the album with our material and still recorded 2 or 3 of their songs that they'd left behind, like AC/DC and No You Don't. And then we still did a cover of Joey D and the Starlighters' Peppermint Twist, because, you know, we're still at heart a harmony band. You know, we love all that Beach Boys and some of the doo-wop stuff. You know, the singer sings and then the backing singer sings something different. You know, it's always still there within you. So we made this album, and we made it cheaply and quickly with Phil Wainman, Sweet Fanny Adams, and it went in the charts. And now Mike Chapman's going, I really didn't like what you did to my songs, you know. And I'm thinking, you know, for God's sake, grow up. He then came back, and we had a big meeting with everybody, and he said, right, I want to do an album with you. And we went, well, it'll be a bit quick. No, I want to do it, set you up in the studio as if we're live, because every time I see you live, that's the sound that we never get on record. So I thought, all right, here we go. So we booked a week studio, and we recorded Desolation Boulevard. The only track that we didn't record that way was the 16s. And it sounds it. The 16 sounds like the way Sweet should have recorded. The rest of the album, I'm afraid, is a little bit rough and ready. I even played some of the guitar solos live with the band playing around me, rather than putting some backing down and then laying it on the top, which I would have normally done. Doesn't mean to say it's bad. It's just I could have improved the solos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you get that. But you get that. And but the title Desolation Boulevard was a better title than Sweet Fanny Adams, and the Americans wanted an album to go with Fox on the Run, and they picked Desolation Boulevard, but picked most of the songs from Sweet Fanny Adams, which I guess also didn't annoy Nicky and Mike, because all of a sudden, you know, Phil Wainman as a producer is getting all the plaudits because he's the main producer, and it's only the 16s from Desolation Boulevard and maybe one other that gets picked to go on the on the new American Desolation Boulevard. Plus, our Fox on the Run, the re-recording, which I produced, is on there as well. So you can see what's going on here. There's a lot of egos at play, and the only people who didn't have egos at that time, who should have had egos, was the Sweet.
Yes. Two fantastic albums. I still play them. I absolutely love those records, and I love the new one as well.
Brilliant.
I guess the title of the album's sort of self-explanatory. I love the artwork of the cover with the train on there. What's the symbolism of the train?
Well, we started looking at. I had an idea in my head last year that the album might be, because every time you start talking about the Sweet, you start talking about something different from what people imagine the Sweet to be. And I used to get this really weird look. The album's called Paradox, eh? Paradox, yeah. You see, unless you've done your English grammar, you know, and learned, you know, what a palindrome and all these other things are, you're not on the same page, or an oxymoron, and you start thinking, I'm probably being a little bit too, I'm being stupid here. They want something that they can grab. And we hadn't written the song Full Circle, Tom and I, yet. And I saw, I think it was the wife of my singer, she'd done a mock-up of people like footprints in a sand, walking around in a circle with the sea in the background and nobody else on the beach. And I thought that's really interesting, you know, just walking around, you know, with no no start point, no, and it just suddenly came to me full circle. At this point, we'd also had a photograph taken in an old train yard in Denmark, where we're peeping out of the, the things that the kind of wagon that had a sliding door from the old cowboy days,
Oh, yeah.
A couple of people sitting and peeping out, and me standing against the wheel, and we liked the idea of like an old rail yard. And then another guy who's done some album or some artwork for us in the past just got onto it, and he came up with this fantastic looking, Back to the Future type train, and on there he's put full circle on the front, and he's put, I don't know if you noticed that the train's number spells out Rampage.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
on the bottom there, and then we said, well, therefore, in order to kind of join this together, because it was going to be a gatefold, we said you're going to have the train line going round here into a circle and possibly coming into a yard here, so that it's got a place, and then he started to put things in the distance so that you see this guitar neck or something, or you see various things, almost like the Planet of the Apes, and it just developed from there. And the full circle made real sense at the back end of last year, when I played my hometown of Wrexham on the December the 1st, and my brother pointed out, he said, your very first real gig with your first real band was on November the 30th, 1963. He said, that's 60 years apart. And you probably played to 50 odd people in a youth club. And now you're playing to 1,500 people in the university hall, which is literally, you could walk between the two. He said, if that's not full circle, I don't know what is,
That's crazy, isn't it? How those things happen. What are your favorites from the album? Mine sort of like change all the time. I think at the minute I'm really enjoying the rockers, obviously. So you've got Destination Hanover and your Circus that sort of like start the album. There's something about the song Everything that I keep coming back as well.
That did appear on an album over 20 years ago. And it was forgotten. It was like a lost track. And I said, I'm not letting that go, and we'd been playing it live, and it had been going down so well, and it had never been released as a single. So when we had the opportunity after the pandemic, we just put that out. We didn't have all the tracks for the album, but we just put it out, and it went to #1 in so many internet charts. There's a heritage chart over here now run by a DJ called Mike Reed. And there's a lot of bands from the past, Deep Purple. We've got Toya Wilcox and Robert Fripp. All these bands now are re-releasing stuff, and it's going in that chart. Sting was on with Mark Knopfler. So it's a crazy. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. You could, you've got people like Springsteen and Macca who are 80 now. So, it's a mad world.
It is a different world, isn't it? As well, there's a real like 80s to me anyway. There's a real 80s sound to the album, both in the pop and in some of the rockier songs as well. When I first heard "Don't Bring Me the Water," I was like reminded of 80s Yes.
Yeah.
Is that too far away from?
No, absolutely not. This was a song. I go to a lunch twice a year where a lot of people that I don't see regularly, ex-PR journalists, there's a lot of drummers who show up. So it's like a mixed bag of old rock and roll people, and there's a couple of songwriters who come to this lunch, and I think that they've been I've forgotten his name right now. He's gonna hate me, but I didn't write this song, and he said I've got a song, and there's another guy who's got a, a site called SongLink where you can upload the songs that you've written, and people can listen to them, and then all he's done is he's made the introduction. Yeah, you like that song? Well, now deal with them, and it came through SongLink as much as anything. This guy, I mean, it was the sound of the voice that got me to start with. And I thought, am I taken because it's the sound of the voice, or is the song got something? And then I stripped it away. And then my singer, Paul, when he heard it, he grabbed the voice almost in the verses, because it's got to be, it's got to have that little bit of gravel, and it's got to have that moment of despair almost. Because the guy is in despair. Don't give me water. I don't deserve it. And well, we just took it on from there. They actually complicated it and did it, as you rightly said. There was a yes type middle, which had a little bit more timing things. And I thought, if this is going to be a single, you've got to get rid of that, because if all of a sudden people are moving with it, you've got to keep the groove going. So we straightened it. I'm not sure whether they liked it, but it didn't matter, because it was a big success. And all I got from him on an email was the biggest thank you, So I appreciate, and I do understand what you mean, that it could have been like a yes track,
Yeah, Paul does great, and I loved him on Everything as well. I think that was the one.
Yeah.
He sounds
the others, we got two singers. We got the bass player, Lee Small. He's got a great voice as well. And what I like about the way that the three of us work is it's getting back to what the original band had, where you had three voices that you could recognize doing lead and backing vocals. You knew that was Steve. You knew that was me. You knew that was Mick. It was and I haven't had that for a while. There's been a lot of what would I say? Not backing vocals that could have been made by AI. Do you know what I mean? Not nondescript. And I like the idea of hearing the voices in the backing vocals.
Yeah, I think that works really well on. I think it's Coming Home, the second last track on there. You hear the distinct voices on that as well.
That was written by our drummer.
Oh wow! Okay.
And he even played some of the guitars on there, because when he brought his demo to us, he was drumming on it, obviously, and he played the guitars. And we stripped it back, and I said, well, we're definitely keeping those guitars, because they were like a wall of sound. And then the other guitars were like put on by me and Tom.
That's nice, Adam. Oh, yeah, Adam's done a good job on that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love Rising Up as well. That it's got that atmospheric sort of like real build, and then it sort of like goes into a nice pop rocker with a fantastic chorus. I love.
Yeah, well, that was Lee Small, our bass player, who coined that one.
Yeah, Lee's. I listened to Lee's solo album.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good, very good. But it all comes together. I mean, you've got, I guess, the mellowest song on there is probably Defender, which is a bit AOR, which sounds beautiful. But
well, that was written by an Emmy, a Grammy songwriter from New York, a guy called Neil Cohen. And I think that it was probably destined for somebody in the, should we say, modern country zone.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, we got in touch with him, and he said, no, it'd be a pleasure. Put some rock in there, please. So we had to go at it, and that song we released as a single in these internet charts, and that went to #1 as well. So. As I say, there are some really good songs on there.
So what makes a great song for you? What's it got to have? What are the essential elements? Because you've picked some great ones on this record.
It can be a myriad of things, because there are songs that are literally there's nothing to them, but you love the groove, you know. And then there are songs that have got a message, and it's the singer that's helped that song along. You know, it's not just the fact that, you know, you could sit at a piano and sing it. If you don't have Whitney Houston's voice, or you don't have Celine Dion singing it, it ain't quite going to be the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, it's for Sweet, it has to have that knockout chorus, really. One of those choruses that soars, you know. But then, you know, Sweet had a like the song Blockbuster didn't really have a chorus.
Yeah, yeah.
It just had one word that got spluttered out at the end of somebody doing a little bit of an imitation of they're coming to take me away, haha, you know. And then at the end of it, we all sing to Blockbuster. So, you know, it's a weird and then without the 50s Sandy Nelson, Gene Krupa drum track, maybe the Ballroom Blitz wouldn't have been as big a hit as it was, you know. So it's there's a lot of different elements to a hit record. I think we've always believed, though, with Phil Wainman, when we used to lay backing tracks down, especially after the first year where Phil got the session guys in, you know, for the real pop records, those bubble gums. When we started to record on our own, you know, with Little Willie and Wigwam Bam, and then Blockbuster, he said was when he heard Wigwam Bam's backing track with just one guitar, bass, and drums, he went, "Now that's it." He said, "You know, this record's going somewhere from just hearing the way those instruments have gelled together and played the track without any vocals on there." And so we started to go with that if the backing track has got something, and you can almost go, "Oh, wow," you know, you like Love Is Like Oxygen, you could take all the vocals away and it's definitely got something, you know.
Okay, I could listen to that all day. I could listen to you all day as well. Thank you so much for your time. You've been more than generous, and I shall see you hopefully in November.
Oh, great. Where are you coming to then?
We'll be Perth, the date you're at.
Oh, Perth.
So
that's right at the end, I think.
It is. So
and we have a day off before.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So where are we going then?
I don't know. There's plenty to see. I think we'll go. I think we'll take you down to Fremantle, maybe. Have a nice.
Yeah, I've stayed in Fremantle in the past, but yeah, that'll be good.
Have a nice lunch. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Nice, mate.
Thanks so much, Andy. Take care, mate.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Bye.